Just figured I'd make another video about these oil lamps here because I thought it was interesting. Um, One of my last videos, I showed the Aladdin running on on-road diesel fuel. Um, in my experience, all of the wick type lamps don't do well with red dye that they put in off-road diesel fuel or off-road kerosene. Um, Seems like the flames don't burn hot enough to burn off whatever dye is put in there, and it like caramelizes or whatever you want to call it on the end of the wick and kind of fucks up the end of the wick. The Aladdin was doing okay on diesel fuel, except for the fact that it would create a bunch of carbon deposits on top of the wick, and it would like char the wick much faster, and so you would consume the wick very quickly, and the flame would get flame spikes and what have you on it quite readily. I don't know how this shit works on my phone. Um, Mantle's got a hole in it, but it's otherwise running pretty good right now. But anyways, yeah, diesel was functional in the Aladdin lamp, but it chewed through the wick pretty fast, and it's a very viscous fuel in comparison to kerosene. And so it didn't flow up the wick very quickly. Again, in comparison to kerosene, and so you had to like turn the wick up higher, and maybe that was more of the issue, was that you couldn't get the fuel into the wick more. But anyways, diesel works and it produces light. It's just certainly not ideal. But I was interested to try it out. All three of these here are intended to run off of kerosene. K1, 1K, whatever the fuck it's called. Kerosene in my area is actually very expensive. It's like $20 a gallon. And I was running that in the Aladdin and the others here. I've tried paraffin oil, like paraffin lamp oil, in both of those. I haven't tried it in the Aladdin yet. I'd be curious to try that. But anyways, all three of these right now currently are burning jet fuel. You know, Jet A that you would run any like turbine-powered aircraft off of. Thankfully, I have a local airport that's really cool and allows me to go down there and do that. But the biggest advantage is that jet fuel, at least currently right now, which is fuck is it? The end of 2024, anyways, was $6.30 a gallon versus $18 a gallon for K1 kerosene. So that part was really cool, and it does just fine. Actually, using the lamp, it seems essentially identical to this one's got a frosted globe. Actually, using the lamp, it seems identical to, K1 kerosene. The fuel itself, like the liquid fuel, stinks more than K1 kerosene. And so, like, if you spill a little bit of it, the jet fuel has a very pungent smell to it. But aside from that, I don't really notice any difference using these. I've gone through about a gallon or so of jet fuel in the Aladdin so far, and less than that in these. But I found it was interesting just watching the level, like the fuel level in the lamp here. It seems like the jet fuel is more fuel efficient than the K1 kerosene. And I don't know, I'm just curious if anyone else has tried different fuels in these lamps and what their experience was. I ordered a couple more Aladdin lamps, and I think what I would like to do potentially is like set up side by side, say 4, 5, 6 different Aladdin lamps, and run them all on different fuels. The Aladdin on 100% diesel fuel wasn't good for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, but when I mixed it at like say 25% diesel fuel or 50% diesel fuel, it was actually doing pretty good. Certainly the straight K1 kerosene or the straight jet fuel does better, but you know, say if you had a limited supply of kerosene and you were trying to make it last as long as possible, diluting it, like I said, 25-50% with diesel fuel worked just fine. Above 50%, and the Aladdin didn't like it very much. But oh yeah, yeah. There you go. Nice normal blue flame on the Aladdin, burning jet fuel.